Okay, it's time to finish the quiz. Okay, I will give you 30 seconds because I don't have answers. So, question next.
May I ask you a question? Yes. So, okay, there was a question about the monetary policy in the long run. It was like it sounded like. Wait a second. Where is it? Okay. Sorry, trying to find the question.
In the long run, monetary policy
yes,
tends to be neutral.
Yes, I wrote it. Yeah, it's true. Is it true for? Yeah, it's right. Thank you.
Yes, we will talk about it in number 3 today. So we will discuss it. Okay, let's start. Today our topic is aggregate demand, aggregate supply model. So first of all, please open class 2.6. First of all, let us remember what we were talking about before. So we start from Keynesian cross. From Keynesian cross. It was about equilibrium in the goods market. For which we will find equilibrium output for each interest rate. And this is the definition of IS. Yes. Then we were talking about money market. In equilibrium, it will give us equilibrium interest rate for each level of output. And this will give us LM curve. Yes. And then we're told that ISLM model is a model about short-run equilibrium. What means short-run equilibrium? In the short run, prices are constant. Yes, so from here, we will find, if we will cross IS and LM, we will find equilibrium output, equilibrium interest rate for constant level of prices. And this will be short run. But if we assume that in medium run, prices can change, we can find from ISLM, right, medium run, prices are not constant, they can change. So from ISLM model, we will find, when we will cross IS and LM, we will find equilibrium output for each price level, for each price level. And this is the definition of aggregate demand. This is aggregate demand. So all that we considered about IS and LM, it is the demand side. Keynes, we're talking about the demand side of economy. So, and if we are talking about monetary policy and fiscal policy, this is all about the demand side of the economy. How much we want to buy, or how much each economic agent wants to buy. Yes, consumption, investments, government spendings, and net export. If we are talking about open economy, it's all about the demand side. Okay, then in the previous class, we were discussing wage setting, price setting equation. Wage setting is about the relation between real wages and unemployment. Yes, negative relation. Price setting is how firms set their prices. Yes, and then when we cross them, this wage setting and price setting relation, so it's about labor market and production. Yes, it's all about production. So that means that it's all about supply side of the economy. Yes, production, that means supply. And when we cross wage setting and price setting relation, we can find aggregate supply. So, and also, if we will tell that price level equals to expected price level, that's true for the natural level of output. Yes, that's true for long run. True for long run. So if we assume that our price level in the economy equals to expected price level, so expectations are correct. Okay, let's write down expectations are correct. So from here, we can find natural level of output, natural rate of unemployment, and natural level of output. And natural level of output is long run aggregate supply. This is long run aggregate supply. So aggregate supply is for medium run, long run aggregate supply is for long run. In the long run, expectations are correct. In the medium run, they can be not correct. They are changing. So workers change their expectations about prices, about price level in, I don't know, in supermarkets, about price in supermarkets. So, and today we will cross aggregate demand and aggregate supply. So in the end, we will cross aggregate demand and aggregate supply, and we will find equilibrium output level and equilibrium price level in the economy in the short run, in the medium run, and in the long run. Okay, let's start. I hope this scheme will be useful for you to understand what we're talking about each class, how classes are connected to each other. Mm-hmm. So, okay, let's read number one. Number one, we will talk about aggregate demand shock in the medium run. Mm-hmm. Aggregate demand shock, that means that we will talk about monetary policy or fiscal policy. Let's see. Suppose the economy begins with the output equal to its natural level. So we start our output equals to natural level of output. Okay, let's say it's y0, zero situation. Then there is a reduction in income taxes. Reduction in income taxes. This is our shock. So first of all, before discussing what is happening, let us draw a big graph to show everything. We will draw two graphs, one by another. In the first graph, okay, horizontal axis output, vertical axis upper, here will be price level. Here we see aggregate demand shock. So it's about IS and LM or LM. Yes. So here will be interest rate, ISLM. Let's draw ISLM. This will be IS 0, LM 0. Output and initial interest rate. Then we know that our initial level of output equals to natural level of output. So level of output in the long run for each price level. So we know how to draw long run aggregate supply. It's vertical line. So output will be constant in the long run for each price level. Yes, this is long run aggregate supply. And we should draw aggregate demand and aggregate supply. For example, like this, and aggregate supply. And in this cross, we will find first price level. And if output is equal to the natural level, that means that our expectations about prices are correct. So our price level equals to expected price level in the economy. Okay, this is our baseline. Now let's start to discuss what is happening. If government decrease taxes, this is the example of stimulating fiscal policy. I hope you remember it. Yes, government stimulates the economy. Okay, let's write down stimulating fiscal policy. How this policy affects and what it affects, please, next.
So, well, first thing which should be, I think the disposable income should increase.
Our disposable income increases. That means
consumption decreases.
We can consume.
Oh, sorry, increases. Yeah, sorry.
Which leads?
Then output. Output should also increase. Yes. For every interest rate.
And that is the shift of what?
Shift IS.
IS.
And it will shift to the right, I think.
Higher output
because it is in
interest rate.
Yeah.
Shifts right.
And also from here we can also see the shift of AD, I mean aggregate demand, because our prices are staying in, like they are not changing, but we have the change of output. That means like our output goes higher, and it leads to the increase in to the shift in AD. And it also shifts to the right.
Yes, exactly. Okay, thank you. Let's draw these parts. So first of all, we have a shift of IS. Let's do like this, for example, IS1. And here we will have new level of output. Also, we see the increase in interest rate, but let's consider increase in output. And also, that's true that output increases for constant price level, as Nesta told us. So for our constant price level, see, output now is higher. Price level is constant, but output is higher. So new aggregate demand curve should include this point. You see, price level is the same, but output is higher. Now, see? This is new aggregate demand. Agree. Then we need to explain these shifts. These IS shifts right because taxes are lower now. AD shifts right also because taxes are lower. Only to explain. Then, good. What's happening then? We see that
We have also shifts of, I think the LM curve, I mean line should also shift.
Why?
Because prices will not stay remain stable. Prices are going like higher. That leads to the shift also.
So why we see that prices are higher? New cross of aggregate demand and the aggregate supply is for higher prices, you see? This new price level, P1. So prices now are not constant. We begin to discuss medium run. Prices are not constant. They goes up, and expectations now expectation stays the same for same level of expectations. What that means? LM shifts where and why?
LM will shift, I think, to the left. Like, yeah. Because I don't know how to explain it. Let me think. Like, I have the explanation, but I don't know how to express in my words.
This is we need to consider real money supply, real supply for money. Okay, I can draw money market, and we will see. So here M1, you remember money market. Here interest rate, demand for money, real demand for money, and this is supply for money, real supply for money. Yes, and now prices goes up. What that means to real supply for money? How much we can buy for such prices, for such price level?
Real supply should decrease. Real supply will decrease because we will divide to the bigger denominator.
P1 here, yes? And now we see that interest rates, money.
Yeah. And if the real, will decrease, that means that our interest rate will increase. And also there will be for each output.
And this
yes. Yeah.
LM shift, let's say shifts up because interest rates goes up for each level of output. Yes. LM shifts up. And where we need to shift it, where we will have new price level in the short run. This will be Y1. Yes, for new price level. Y1 to this price. LM1 and explain the shift because prices goes up. Maxim, you want to
So yeah, as a question, if we have an increase in price levels, so I missed interest rate increased in our case or decreased?
Increased.
Okay, thank you.
Let's lower real supply of money, lower supply in the market means higher prices. Yes, we have money market, price for money is interest rate goes up. Yes, lower supply, interest rates goes up, and that's true for each level of output. Yes, so we have shift of LM up. You see, interest rates now are higher for each output level. So now we were in equilibrium 0. Now we stuck in equilibrium one and equilibrium one, and this is short run equilibrium. See, high interest rate, higher price. Let's write down.
I have a question.
Please.
Do we need to write down on a graph that where like the short run equilibrium or not, or it just, I mean, just to write down short run equilibrium or no, where you put the dot?
No, zero.
You know, on the graph. Yes.
Now we will.
Do we need to just name them or no?
You can say that point one is short run equilibrium, like this. And now we will explain what is happening in the short run. So we start here from 0, and now we're in 1. Yes? So let us write down. In short run equilibrium, we see high level of output, yes, from y0 to y1. Output goes up.
So, yeah, also the interest rate goes up.
And prices.
And prices, yes, prices go up.
Prices goes up, but expectations now stays constant. Expectation stays constant. Yes. So you see, people expect lower prices than they are now. Yes. Then, what we can say about consumption?
Consumption should increase.
Exactly. Yes.
Because we have taxes, they decrease, but our output increases.
So by 2 reasons, our total income increases and taxes are lower. Yes, 2 reasons why consumption is higher now. Then, what about investments in the short run?
They should decrease, I think. I'm not sure, but I think they will decrease because our interest rate increased. And that means that, I mean, like, how to explain, like more
expensive, yes.
Yes, yeah, you said that.
Agree. So let's see. Now we have high interest rates. So now that means that to borrow, it is more expensive now. That means we will borrow less. That means lower lower investments. But on the other hand, we have higher level of output, and we know that here can be connection between positive connection between output level and investments level. Yes, it can be. We can write down marginal propensity to invest. Yes, you remember that we had, for example, investments are equal to marginal propensity to invest multiplied by GDP plus autonomous investments that are constant minus this change in investments when we change interest rate multiplied by the level of interest rate. Yes, so we can have this positive connection between investments and GDP. So we have here higher output, and investments can go up. So we need to calculate to say, are they increased, decreased? We don't know. But if we assume that we do not have this connection between, that we have only a connection of investments with interest rate and without GDP, we can say that they decreased. Okay, so they can increase. Let's say, we do not know, because output increase, that means investments increases, interest rate increases, that means decrease in investments. And we do not know which effect will overweight, but also if you do not consider such configuration, you can say that that interest rate increases, that means decrease in investments, and that's all. If you consider such thing. Okay. Then this was about short run. Please ask. Okay, let's continue. Now we will talk about medium run. What is happening? In the medium run, our workers begin to change their expectations. They begin to realize that now their wages are, in real terms, they are lower than before. Yes? And they begin to revise their expectations. You see, they expect lower prices, but prices now are higher, and they begin to realize it. And what is happening? Let us discuss. So, medium run. We see that price goes up, and now it is bigger than expected. So workers begin to increase their expectations. What is happening? Why? As real wage now is lower. You see, prices are higher. That means that we can buy lower amount of products in the shop. Yes, in the supermarket. Real wages are lower. What is happening also?
The wages going to.
Huh?
Sorry, I was going to say that the wages themselves are going to be higher.
So workers begin to realize that they need to change, yes, their price expectations. That's why they come and ask for higher nominal wages. So they workers, okay, let's say workers, bargain for higher nominal wages.
Does this mean that costs of products will also go to be high? Because like when people ask, when people are like their wages are high, the price of products are higher.
Exactly. Yes. If now our firms need to pay more to workers, costs will go up for firms. Cost of firms.
And why do you assume that once workers ask, they are they receive what they ask?
Very good.
Because this is just an example. I mean, this is just a problem. This is not a real life. Sorry.
Well, okay.
I mean, not sorry, but for these workers, it's a good situation.
Because they begin to realize that they now have lower real salary, real wage, and output is higher. Yes, and so our firms need more workers. Yes, need workers to work to produce this higher output. Yes, and that's why firms agree for higher nominal wages. What to do? So higher output, that means higher income. So we agree for higher nominal wages. Then that means higher costs for workers, and that means that
prices are going to be higher.
Yes, prices will go up.
And this means that we will have another shifts on both, I think, curves. from where you want to start. I
don't
think,
know.
okay, IS curve will go, as you said before, like up.
AS
Yes.
goes up, yes.
Mhm.
Aggregate supply curve goes up because now price level is higher, yes, and expectations
Yeah,
are
yeah, yeah.
higher for each level of output. Yes, price goes up for each level of output. So aggregate supply, this is all about supply side, about labor market and production. AS goes up, and also, what else?
LM should also change, but how? Up. It also goes up.
As before, you see, higher prices,
Yeah,
lower
yeah, yeah.
money supply. That means LM up because interest rates goes up. And what is happening? They goes up such that our level of output return to the natural level. Maxim, you have question?
Yeah, so does the high output result in the growth of prices in our model?
No.
Yeah, I have the same question.
Higher output, yes,
Yeah.
leads to higher prices. Yes, we can say it.
But wait, isn't it about the short run? I think it was even in the test that in the short run they depend.
Yes.
That is the output.
This is the short run equilibrium. Higher.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see. It's the short run. Yes, exactly.
And then what is happening? We're now talking about medium run, and then we stop in the long run. We will move back here for the same level of output, for natural level of output. So this will be Y2, this will be UAS, AS, okay, let's see, 2. This is equilibrium 2. You see, higher prices. Yes, same level of output with natural level of output. And we move along aggregate demand. Why we move along aggregate demand? Because we have shift of LM because of change in prices. We should move LM to the previous level of output. LM2. One more shift because of shift in of change in prices. Okay, the first shift was because prices goes from P0 to P1, and the second shift of LM from P1 to P2. And this is point equilibrium 2. And for equilibrium 2, we see that we will have high interest rates. Agree? So we move along IS to new equilibrium. Here explained. Here, so good. So in the end, we're stuck in the long run, such that if we will talk about long run, we know that in the long run expectations are correct. So here we will say that people revise their expectations to the new price level, new expected price level. So now expectations are correct in the new long run equilibrium. Okay, now in the long run, what is happening? So you see that output level stays the same, yes?
Yeah, it stays constant. Our interest rate increased. Prices also increased.
Also, what we can say, consumption and investments.
Consumption increased, investments decreased. because our interest rate increased.
And
I think you explained it, yeah, before because it is more it's expensive.
to borrow. Good. And you see here, investments definitely decreased. Why? Because GDP stays constant. Yes, no effect of GDP, but interest rate increased. So we have only one effect. So it's definitely decreased. What about consumption? Our total income stays constant, but Elizabeth?
No. I wanted to ask a question, but you can finish and then I will ask. Okay.
Okay. Consumption increased. Why? Our total income.
I can explain.
Please.
I think I can explain why. Because from the formula of все время забываю, как называется, располагаемый
Disposable income.
Disposable, yes, disposable income is like GDP minus taxes. Yes, and you just said that GDP stays the same, and the taxes are increased.
They are
That
low.
means, yeah, or decrease. Sorry. And that just leads to the increase in consumption.
Yes, disposable income goes up, so consumption goes up. This is in long run. So you see that even in the long run, fiscal policy has its effect on real terms, on interest rate. Yes, GDP stays constant, but we have change in our interest rate if we use fiscal policy. Elizabeth, please.
I wanted to ask about the medium run. As we started with the price increase, and we finished with the price increase as well. So, firstly, is it kind of a circle, or then why do we need all these calculations? Because we knew that the prices increased at the beginning, and we came to the same conclusion.
Prices increased 2 times by different. And we explain it differently, why they increased 2 times. First of all, they increased, but expectations are constant. And because we need to produce more, so demand goes up, so prices goes up. It's easier, yes? But expectations are constant. But then new increase in prices is because workers begin to understand that they can ask for higher nominal wages. Yes, they begin to revise their expectations about prices in the economy. This is the new increase in prices because of that. So 2 different explanations about price increase. So 2 times prices increase.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Then, okay, let's continue and consider a second task. Can I erase this one?
Yes, I think yes.
I hope. In the second problem, we will discuss aggregate supply shock, supply side, and medium run. So let's see. Consider an economy with output equal to the natural level of output as before. So we start from natural level of output. Suppose there is an increase in unemployment benefits. Increase in unemployment benefits. Okay, let us draw our graph, on which we will start. So we cannot draw the second graph under this because wage setting, price setting relation, their axes are unemployment and real wages. So here will be unemployment. We cannot have different axes. Okay. So anyway, So here, long run aggregate supply, aggregate demand, and aggregate supply. This is for price level 0 equals to expected price level. This is y0 equals to natural level of output. What else? Okay, and now let's discuss what is happening if we will increase unemployment benefits. What happens with incentives to work? That matters.
Less incentives.
Exactly.
I mean, it's logical.
Yes. So we have less incentives to work. So here will be higher unemployment. Yes. And it will be higher natural rate of unemployment. Because as you remember, let's see, when we were discussing wage setting, price setting relation, this was price setting, price setting, this was wage setting relation. Here was unemployment. Here real wage. So, and when we crossed price set and wage set relation, from here we found natural rate of unemployment. Yes, natural rate of unemployment. And if we have increased unemployment benefits, that means that those who work, they will ask for higher wages. Yes, for each unemployment level. Because they can do it now, they have less incentives to work. So pay to me more for me to work for you. Yes. So that means this is the shift of wage setting up. Because of this change in unemployment benefits. And you see now that more people, even in the long run, will not work. Higher unemployment rate, natural unemployment rate. And that means that level of output, natural level of output, will be lower. It will be produced less in the economy. Good. Let us write down everything for you, not to forget about what we're talking today. So, high unemployment benefits leads to low incentives to work. We have less incentives to work. Then, that means that bargaining power of workers will increase. Will go up, and they will ask for higher wages for each unemployment level. They will ask for higher wages, for each unemployment rate. And this is the shift of wage set relation up, which leads to higher natural level of unemployment and lower natural level of output. And you see that we will have shift of long run aggregate supply to the left. Natural level of output now is lower than before. And 0, here 1, for example. Yes, this is the shift of long run aggregate supply, because now natural output is lower for each price level also, for each price level. And this is shift of long run IS.
May I ask a question?
Uh-huh.
Do we have here also increase in prices? Because like the wages were increased. I mean, workers asked for more wages. That means that costs also of products increased, and if costs increase, that means that prices also increases.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes. We will shift now IS also. Okay, let's start to discuss this. This was one moment. What is happening next moment? What about what you told? So, in the short run, we have higher nominal wages, which leads to higher costs and higher costs, which leads to higher prices. Okay, let us shift, for example, aggregate supply where to the somewhere here in the short run when we have the same level of expectations. So prices goes up, but expectation stays constant in the short run. So it's not a total shift to the new equilibrium. Okay. So this is AS1, new price level P1, agree. And now we should say what is happening in the short run. And here, also we can say that we move along aggregate demand, and how we will explain the moving along AD. Prices goes up, LM goes up, liquidity money LM goes up, and this is the moving along AD, along aggregate demand. So from here, from 0 to 1. Now, in the short run, what we see? Prices now actually higher than expected prices, you see? Then, what about level of output if we will compare with natural level of output?
The just output should be more than the natural one.
Yes, because now we compare with new long-run aggregate supply. You see, level of output now is bigger than new natural level of output. You see, because this is new long-run output, and we should compare with this one right now. Now, output is bigger than natural level of output. That also we can say that leads to unemployment rate, actual unemployment rate lower than natural unemployment rate. So cyclical unemployment is less than 0, or more workers are working now, yes, to produce extra output, yes, that is bigger than natural level. So our economy, our production now needs more workers. More workers are needed. So one more time, bargaining power goes up because they ask for higher wages, and we move to the new equilibrium in the long run. Okay, let us write down this. So here we need more workers. And that means that they will ask, okay, their bargaining power goes up, they ask for higher nominal wages, that leads to higher costs and leads to higher prices. Also, they revise expectations, because now we begin to talk about medium run here, where we begin to talk about medium run, where we begin to revise expectations. Okay, maybe.
So you are talking about medium run now? Yes.
Short run equilibrium from 0 to 1, and from this point, we begin to change our expectations, and it's happening here. It's happening here also. We can say in these terms, we need more workers. That's why cost goes up, prices goes up, and also we can explain. We need to come to the new long run equilibrium, to this point. You need to come here. And in this point, we know that new price level should be equal to new expected higher price level. So here, our workers begin to revise expectations. And if they expect higher wages, they ask for higher wages, and they can do it because they have higher bargaining power. So it's like same explanation. So prices goes up, and that means aggregate supply left. Also, in medium run, one more time, in medium run, as prices goes up, we revise our expectations to price 2 level equals to expected price 2 level. You can say that not here medium run. You can explain. So medium run is different to the short run. That in medium run we change expectations. Yes. So you can also explain this part here. So that's all. And where we stay in the equilibrium where new output level equals to new natural level of output. We'll go here. This y2. So in the end, in long run, one more time, we see higher prices. Then what we see? Output goes down because natural level of output goes down, and it is only our option how to change the output in the long run, to change something in the supply side of the economy. So natural level of output goes down. What else? Okay, well, we can say that interest rate will go. LM shifts.
Can we say
interest rate will go up? You can write. You can draw it.
May I ask you a question about like writing? So may I write that the natural, like the new natural output was like it is less than the previous one? I mean, for example, we have, because in the graph you have the natural level of output 0, I think you wrote. Yeah, and yeah, like this.
Why not? And it will stuck here in the equilibrium like this.
So it is possible, yes.
Yes. So this is point 2 on the graph. So in the short run, this was 0.1. Yes. No. Where we draw? Here. Price higher. This one. This situation 1. Something like this to show that you connect the graph and explanations. Okay. So you see here we presented two solutions: intuitive solution with explanations and graphical solution. If we will have numbers, we need to present also analytical solution. So 3 solutions in the perfectly solved economic problem. Okay. So here questions. More questions, please. Oh, yeah. Okay. Third problem. In the third problem, we need to discuss. We need to sum up everything that we were talking about. We will discuss neutrality of money. What means neutrality of money? Who knows? Okay. Neutrality of money in the medium run.
I think I know, but I don't know how to say it in English. It's like when money have the effect, but at the same time they don't, kind of.
It's the situation when we change the amount of money, but it doesn't change anything.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, we have such information.
It's like it may have effect on, I don't know, a price, but for example, won't have effect maybe on GDP, for example.
Yes. You see?
Can I also say?
Yeah,
I'm
probably
sorry.
the most important in demand neutrality theory that it can affect only short or medium run, while in long run it cannot affect anything, as was mentioned by Diane.
Yes. So Diane told us that prices will change. Yes, but real variables will not change. Not output, not interest rate. Nothing will change. Only price
Yes.
will change. Yes, exactly. So neutrality of money. That means that monetary policy only affects nominal variables, prices, nominal wages, nominal variables, but not real variables. Yes, unemployment or real level of output, real consumption. So, and we say that in the medium run, money is neutral. That means no change in real variables. Okay. In real variables, for example, real GDP, real consumption, I don't know, real interest rate, but only change in nominal variables. In prices, in nominal wages. Yes. And that's easier. If central bank prints money, it will lead to inflation in the long run, and we will have the same real wage. Yes, we can buy the same amount of products after this. But okay, it's in our perfect economy. So let me show you this on the graph. Okay, let's consider expansionary monetary policy. Okay, stimulating monetary policy. Any stimulating monetary policy that will increase the supply for money. Okay? If we will increase the supply for money, increase in supply will lead to lower prices for money. Prices for money is interest rate. So that means lower interest rates for each output level. And that is LM shifts down. For constant prices. Yes? Let me show you. Here Y, here interest rate, IS, LM0. Now interest rates are lower for each output level, LM1. So we move from equilibrium 0 to equilibrium 1, and this is equilibrium 1 short-run equilibrium. And you see that in the short-run equilibrium, monetary policy can stimulate the economy. Yes, GDP is higher. Agree? Short-run equilibrium, GDP increased, interest rate decreased. Okay, but this is only in the short run. In the long run, we know that we will have inflation, more money, and this long explanation, see number 1, number 2, long explanation why prices will increase. So in the long run, prices will increase. Okay, let's say inflation, which will lead to lower real money supply. Lower money supply, yes? And that means that interest rates will go up for each output level. So LM will shift up. LM shifts back to the previous point, because in the long run we will have natural rate level of output. And you see that LM first moves here and then turn back, and that's all. And equilibrium 0 equals to equilibrium 2. Interest rate goes up back, and GDP goes up, goes down back. Agree? So that means that here we will have no change in GDP, no change in interest rate, it stays the same, yes? So in long run, GDP stays the same, then interest rate stays the same, but we have inflation, yes? Prices goes up. And here we show this neutrality of money in the long run. And we can say that in the long run, or you can say in medium run, it's the same here. Here is the same. Monetary policy is useless.
Not effective.
Mm-hmm. So in long run, monetary policy is not effective. But why we can say that it is not useless at all?
Because prices are going up.
But that's bad. No. What about it's about real terms? It is not useless where? In the short run. If we need to stimulate economy right now, if we have crisis, very, very big crisis, yes. If we need to stimulate economy right now, we will print money. Yes, we will do something. We will.
Sorry.
Monetary policy.
I thought you asked why we can why we can say that it is bad, and I was like, you just explained it. Yeah. Sorry, I missed the yeah. Sorry.
So in short run, monetary policy is effective. Mm-hmm. Then, what about fiscal policy?
I think Maxim has a question.
Please.
Yeah, do I understand correctly that in the long run we do not have any positive consequences?
If we will have, I don't know. You see that here we consider stimulating monetary policy. If we will decrease money, we increased the supply for money. Yes. If we will decrease the supply for money, all these arrows will return. Yes, will be to the other. Yes. So, and if we will have, if we will decrease the supply for money, that will lead to lower prices in the long run. Yes. Vice versa, and we can make lower level of inflation. That's not bad. Yes.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Okay. So, what about fiscal policy? In fiscal policy, we considered it. I showed you. So, if we will consider fiscal policy, this was LM. Okay, this is about fiscal policy. Okay, stimulating IS1, IS2. You see that in the short run, we will have interest rate increase and a GDP increase. But also in the long run, prices will go up because output goes up. Yes, prices go up, LM shifts up. Where? To the same level of output. LM shifts back. LM0, LM2. This is natural level of unemployment. And you see here 0, 1, 2. And you see that fiscal policy will not change output, but it will change interest rate. Agree? Even in the long run. In the long run, prices will go up, GDP will stay constant, but interest rate will increase. And if interest rate is changing even in the long run, this is the effect on investments, yes? So here investments will go down. And by using, that's why we cannot say that fiscal policy is neutral. It's not neutral. It changes real variable. It changes interest rate, even in the long run. Agree? So fiscal policy is not neutral. And because we can control, we can change investments, yes? And such that in the long run, we can influence economic growth. So more investments, higher economic growth. Okay, and the last, you see that monetary policy and fiscal policy cannot change output, So what government should do to change output? This I answered to you in the previous task. So in long run, to change output,
government should I don't know how to say, like, influence
what it should
supply side.
Supply side, yes. Exactly.
Yes, I said.
Should influence the supply side of the economy. It's all about unemployment benefits. Let's write down last unemployment benefits, because it will change natural level of unemployment. Yes, in the long run, unemployment benefits. Then, for example, monopoly power of firms, monopolization of the markets. It's about markup mu from the previous class. Then average product of labor. How to change average product of labor? For example, to invest in capital. Yes, to increase average product of labor, or for example, to invest in education of workers. Yes, it's also increase in average product of labor. So that's all we can say, that it's investments in research and development. Invest in research and development to change GDP in the long run. Okay, that's all from my side for today. I hope you understood.
Thank you.
Let me write down. Yeah, please. Максим Мусунов. Настя. Настя сегодня звезда. Настя 2 плюсика. Дальше Елисей. Даян. Максим. Ой, сейчас я остановлю запись.